Thousands have taken to the streets of Kyiv and beyond as President Zelenskyy signs a law weakening anti-corruption agencies. Is Ukraine's wartime democracy slipping into something different? Let's break down what's really going on and what might happen next. See you in a minute. Welcome, Fortune Cookies fans and Tarot Maniacs. So you're going to get two videos today. I had a lot of requests to examine the Obama, Tulsi Gabbard, Russian collusion clapback that just happened. So we're going to be doing that in the second video today. So you're going to get two videos. But in this one, we are going to be talking about what's going on in Ukraine. So if you follow my channel for any length of time, you know I'm not really a Zelenskyy fan. I don't think that he's really that legit. I have my own personal feelings about him and some things that I've seen through the veil and tarot. But recently, yesterday, July 22nd, Zelenskyy signed a law moving two key anti-corruption agencies under the Prosecutor General's office. Critics are saying that this breaks Ukraine's prior agreement with the EU and IMF for institutional independence. Protests erupted in Kyiv and Lviv, and including veterans and civil society watchdogs. The law was passed in a secretive late-night session, which also raised some transparency concerns. The U.S. and the EU have expressed concern, but are not condemning anything. So I do think that we've got some interesting stuff going on. Looks like Ukraine's battle is not just against Russia. It looks like they are fighting within as well. So we'll look at a little bit of civil revolution. So thousands are marching in protest. It is clear that they're trying to get their voice out there, some of the population. So is it authoritarianism? Is that what's coming? Is that on the bingo card for this year? Let's find out. I'm going to pull up the card view. As always, please hit that like button. And I have plenty of sales going on this week. So if you want your own magical reading, you can book at the link down below. But make sure you hit that like button, because that does me just as well, letting YouTube know that you're really into this stuff. So what is Zelensky's side of the story? Zelenskyy claims that this move increases efficiency in wartime government. Prosecutor General's office has denied any political motivation, and Ukraine's government is arguing that streamlined control is necessary while under martial law. So let's see what is Zelensky's true intention with this. What is his true intention? Stop communication, or at least convolute the communication and rewrite the narrative. He really does want to do that, guys. Under the surface, he is looking for his legacy. That star card is going to be legacy here. In the suitcase position, he does need to partner up and be a little bit more bipartisan. I hate to say it. I know he's not really, but Hangman in reverse, he is not learning from those situations in the past. He is gonna push full steam ahead. You know, I think the history books are going to call this Zelensky's war, because this is unyielding, not backing off, not reading the room. I hate to say it. I think he is not reading the room at the moment. Why was this law passed in secret? Why was it passed in secret? This is control. This is control. over those agencies. So I think the suspicions of the public are correct. I think that there is a grab for control and to change this narrative so the game is not up. Starting out again, giving us new breath. The illusion that is going to be pumped. The illusion is that everyone in Ukraine is happy with this process. So despite all of the protests that we're seeing now, they're going to say, no, you're not seeing it correctly. The people are very, very happy here. They are behind the war effort and they want to do the job until it's finished. So that is something that I think is going to be very interesting. If we're talking, it's not necessarily propaganda, but it is changing the narrative. They're not really trying. The population of Ukraine, what is the majority on this? How does the majority feel about this? Let's see. How does the majority feel about what's going on right now? Is this the protests? Yes. Yes. How do they feel about the war? Majority. How do they feel about the war with Russia? I do think that the attitude of the population, majority population in Ukraine is what's done is done. You know, we've kind of done our best, and now it's just beating a dead horse at this point. We need to smooth out the wrinkles at this point. Everybody needs to kind of take their toys and clean up their mess and figure out what's next. So I think people protesting in the streets is what we see the population very, very pleased about. We see them very happy that their voice is getting out, that people are exercising their ability to speak. So, interesting stuff. So, does this actually increase efficiency for the government? Zelensky's team is insisting that this isn't corruption. It's just being very efficient. They're jumping on that Elon Musk efficiency thing. So is it really efficient? And the Prosecutor General's office has also denied that there's any political motivations. We're going to look at the Prosecutor General's office too. So is this actually, is the streamlining, is it really more efficient? You've got one card. It does look as though it will create more efficiency. But here's the problem. The problem is that the people feel lied to already. The temperature of the room is that we don't know what the truth is right now. And so they want to stay with the tried and true, the expected behavior, expected setup. So does this open the door to selective prosecution? does it open the door for selective prosecution? It does. It also opens the door to secure funds. So this, I think, is a way of securing funds in a very interesting manner. So if they're not getting money from the West, the money is not pouring in, perhaps they're now going to go after some institutions and people within the country that are not opening up their wallets very quickly. So let's look at the prosecutor general's office. Let's see how legit, how corrupt is that particular office. How are we looking there? How legitimate, how corrupt is that particular office? It actually looks like they're trying to be on the up and up. Do we have some corruption inside there? I think when we see the initial actions of the prosecutor general's office with this new law in place, I think it'll be a little bit interesting. So what can we expect out of them? Like their first case, let's call it a case. What's that going to go like? So I do think it's going to set quite a precedent there. Money, unlocking it, balancing out, pulling some money away from them so we can get more firepower, evening out. This is more of a kind of redistribution of monies here, redistribution of money makers in the country. So I think we're going to be, I think the first case is going to be fast and furious. And they're going to be like, look at what we uncovered. Look at what we see. And I think that that is going to be very interesting. How will the country react to that? How will the country react to that? I do think that the country's going to react very positively to it. I think they're going to say, okay, yes, there's corruption. Let's take their money and redistribute it. But it's going to go into the war chest. It'll go into the war chest. That's the whole point of this. So, wow. So, does this set up a post-war authoritarian government? It sure does. And does this perpetuate Zelensky's role in power? Not necessarily. He is going after the war. I think he is going to leave that role. I've said this before. I do think that he has a plan to go and live abroad. Apparently, he's got houses all over the place. Interesting. But I do think that he is going to, say my work is done here, and then he's going to scuttle off, into the distance. So I don't think he's going to maintain power there. I don't think he wants to either. Does this affect Ukraine's candidacy for the EU? No, nobody wants them in their club yet. So we'll have to see. They're going to wait until the temperature goes down. So, wartime leaders are often granted a great deal of power, extraordinary power in some cases. History shows us they don't always want to give it up after they're done. So, does this help the war effort, or does it perpetuate the war effort? So does this help the war effort? Does not. It continues very recklessly, but it's now we're leaning into more propaganda at this point. Will Ukraine have a democracy intact at the end of all of this? Will Ukraine have a democracy at the end of all of this? They will. Okay, that looks good. That looks good. Are they going to go into rebellion? Is the rebellion on the doorstep with all of these protests? Is there rebellion on the doorstep? Still biding their time, but I do think that there are people talking in closed quarters here about what we can do. I think there are organizations that are coming together. This isn't so much like the Russian Revolution where we had the Bolsheviks and the Mensheviks. It really looks as though some dissimilarly minded people, in terms of politics, policy, that kind of thing, they are banding together because they do not like the leadership. So I think that there are talks in closed quarters. I think there are people that are gearing up to try and take that scepter of power from Zelenskyy. So hopefully there'll be a better dresser. But I think we are going to leave it at that. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you think that Ukraine is going to keep going with this war effort, if the population is just going to go right along with it, if they're going to follow the rules, or if you think that there's going to be something more exciting. Also, let me know what you think of Zelensky's move, doing this, making this law in the middle of the night when no one was really paying attention. Did he think that no one was going to watch? What do you think? So thank you all for watching. And, I don't want to forget about Ukraine. I want to make sure that we are still talking about Ukraine because it's not over there. Just because we have action happening in other quarters of the world, just because we have other things that are going on even in our own countries, we should still be paying attention to the weirdness that has been going on in Ukraine. There are a lot of key things that we need to be watching over there. So don't get distracted. Stick around a little bit later today. I'm going to have the second video, which is going to be about Obama clapping back against Tulsi Gabbard and her release the other day. So stick around. I will see you soon. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.